Hi everyone, so I'm back with a read and wrap up for January. This is the second time I have tried to film this. I tried yesterday to try and get it up for today, for the 1st of February, which is still going to go up on. And it ultimately failed. So I've gotten a different camera, different iPad. This one's bigger, which is why it's at a different angle, because I have not set it up on my tripod. It's just leaning in like a cushion of my quilt, so we're at a different angle, so you're looking at a different wall. So you can see my pins, you can see plushies, and you can see frames, paintings, bits like that. You can also still see my blind. And some pop figures. You can see my Basilisk, Smaug, Ant-Man, Queen, Ron's up there as well, my cauldron. So yeah. Also look a bit further away. This is really weird. I do kind of actually like this angle. Yeah. So same process as usual on my phone. I'm trying to tilt, maybe. There we go. So, I'm gonna start off with the arcs, just because I have done reviews of these on my channel. They're all on here. So I'm literally just gonna give you the title, author, star rating. I'm not gonna go into depth. I did try that yesterday. It took too long. So we're starting out with Fated in Blood, which is part of the Nocturne Vampire Clan series by L.A. McGuinness. I gave this 5 stars. This was the first arc of the year. Then I read Bride to Be by Tina S. Transformation. This is part of her Devastation series. This is the 3rd one. And I gave that 4 stars. Then I read Between Then and Now, which is the first in the Magnolia Heights interconnected standalone romance series by Kyra Isabel, and I gave that 4 stars, but that's a romance 4 stars that I will not be rereading. And then I read Soul Connection by Victor Peter, which I gave 4 stars, which is another dark romance. So, moving swiftly on to the other books that I read in the month of January. So I read The Ritual by Chantal Tessa. This is part of the Lord series, which is a dark college romance, which involves Riot, Alexander and Blake. Riot, Alexander, Archer and Blake. I don't remember her last name. And it's about being a chosen one at Barrington University. So the Barrington is the home of the Lords, which is a secret society that requires payment in blood. Now, being a chosen one means you are put forward to these lords, and that you have to, you have given to them for them to play about with. You are not betrothed to them, you are not to marry them, that kind of thing. Lords are above everyone else. They are the most powerful men. They devote their lives to violence in exchange for power. And during the senior year, they get offered this chosen one. So Blake is offered as a chosen one to Riot. And he offers Blake freedom, which is something she has never been given before. She is betrothed to someone else to marry, and Riot has someone else betrothed to him. But she allows Riot to parade around like this trophy, which is all they basically are. I only gave this 3 stars. It is not what I thought it was. I heard a lot about it, thinking it was going to be this really, really good dark romance, and it just was not. It was terrible. It just lacked plot. But not in the sense of, oh, it was too sexual, it's too dark. It just lacked the plot that it was following just wasn't there. the family drama between Riot, the other boy, and Blake, and all their families was not what I wanted. It just was not worth it. The only reason why I gave it 3 stars was the characters, because some of them actually had decent and good development. And the romance as well between Riot and Blake was also well developed. And even some of the spicier scenes were actually really good as well. It just wasn't what I was after. So I wouldn't be continuing. So then, in between reading all of those, I was reading the second in the Game of Thrones series, The Clash of Kings. This, I can't really tell you much about this because I would be spoiling the first. So there's a lot of chaos, a lot of pretenders, a lot of people going after the Iron Throne, basically. And there's a lot of prophecy of doom cuts across the land, a comet of colour and blood flame. A lot of battles, a lot of war tactics. So I gave this 4 stars. It's got a very, very expansive plot. There's so much tension in basically the entire world, in all of the areas, from Daenerys to the north, to where Robb is fighting, to the King's Landing areas, to where Renly is, to where Stannis Baratheon is, to where even Arya is as well. You can't really trust anyone at all. They're all equally developed. Each personality is definitely spread out throughout this. And you can easily see how they all kind of tie in together. Politics is very well crafted. So many twists, so many turns. But each story felt complete and very easy to follow. There wasn't anything missing. Obviously, the ending, which you're never going to get anyway. You're never going to finish the series. It's kind of sad. But I will definitely be reading it till the end is what the ending we are given, kind of thing. Next is this, called Tommy's Girl. This is another dark romance. This is a bit more my taste though. So this is written by Ellen Morgan. She's a lovely, lovely woman. I've met her several times now. Got this when I went to Liverpool Comic Con in November. She signed it, which I will show you. So this is about living the Hollywood dream, that it means all sorts of things from tackling paparazzi to meeting celebrity crushes. And if you're lucky, actually working alongside them on set. So when I got my big break, because this is about Piper, when she got her big break, she never expected her life to change so drastically. And all because of one man. This man being called Tommy Dark. A man whose touch makes her crazy, a man who is ruthless as he is handsome. A man whose darkness is only barely being unleashed. He carries a power within him that is both frightening, that both frightens her away and draws her closer. She is now Tommy's girl. So, Tommy Dark is this film star bad boy with a huge dark side. So this is a psychological thriller-based romance. And I give this 5 stars. So, the characters are just extremely gripping. I really like Tommy. I know how bad that sounds. But Ellen Morgan, Laura, I should call her, gave me this snippet of like insight to how she came up with Tommy. So Jared Leto, I'm a big fan of Jared Leto. I also have 3 tattoos dedicated to the man as well. He influenced her to create Tommy due to like the method acting he does, like based around like the way he portrayed Joker, and you can see how that's heavily influenced the character. But he also kind of reminded me of Tommy Shelby, not Cillian Murphy himself, but Tommy Shelby, the actual character. Two of my favourite men alongside him, you will know of David Thewlis as well. He's not a method actor by any means, but another guy I really like, which you will have seen in the All the Young Dudes unboxing. You will have probably heard me speak of him there. But I found Tommy in this very attractive. Probably shouldn't have, but that's a me issue. But the dark themes in this as well are very intricately woven through the storyline. So it's not too much in one part and not enough in another. It's seamlessly interwoven. But it also tells the story of how method acting actually affects the actor as an individual, and how a lot of them actually cope with using the techniques, and how maybe some of them shouldn't cope with using the techniques, and also how being a celebrity affects people. Excuse me. And then here comes one of my disappointments of the month. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this is about a reclusive Hollywood icon named Evelyn Hugo. She's finally ready to tell the truth about her glamorous, scandalous life, but she chooses a unknown magazine reporter to do that. So from making her way to Los Angeles in the 1950s to leaving showbiz in the 80s, and of course her 7 husbands along the way, I was severely disappointed with this. Now, I wasn't wholly keen on Daisy Jones and the Six due to the fact that it just sounded like a complete utter retelling of the life of Fleetwood Mac, with the names changed. And this was going the same way so far. I actually DNF'd this at 30%, and you can tell where I DNF'd it, which was at 132 pages, because I cracked the spine of my books, so it actually cracks that way. So I know exactly where I DNF'd it. So this only gets 1 star because of the DNF at 34%. The only thing I actually liked about this, which is why it gets the 1 star, is the actual old Hollywood setting. I really like things like films like Vertigo, the Carry On films, those kind of things. But I could just not stand the way this was written. The inclusion of the journalist is completely pointless. Like, why include a journalist if you're going to write something like this? You could just tell the story like it's written, as Evelyn's biography. Mine have taken the journalist out of it completely. And like, you don't need the back and forth to jump to the modern point of view to back to Evelyn's point of view. Like, past Evelyn, modern Evelyn. You don't need all of that. It just overcomplicates things. And the main emotional plot points were given away right at the beginning. Like, the 3 major plot points were just done in 132 pages. Like, there's your book. That is literally it. That's your story done. There was no incentive to want to actually read the book. Like, there's no connection to any of the characters, and to me, it was just Marilyn Monroe and Elizabeth Taylor. Like, if you wanted to write a book, just write about them two. It gave me the same vibes as the Daisy Jones and the Six, and I didn't like it. It felt pointless. And then I read One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is the first in the Shepherd King duology. Again, this was on my Kindle, and I wasn't wholly pleased with this either. I give this 3 stars. So this is about a Elspeth who basically has the nightmare in her head. She basically gets this like illness, and it causes this like fever thing, and the spirit, mercurial ancient spirit, gets trapped in her head, and it protects her from secrets, and nothing comes for free. The magic doesn't come for free. She meets a highwayman, kind of things go from there. It's like a fantasy. It's like, but getting this kind of infection, this like normally they kill you kind of thing. I think that's what was going on. But it just came across bland. It was telling the story, not showing the story. I know, like, when you read stuff, it is telling the story. But I mean, like, you were being told what was happening, not being shown what was happening. So there was only a small amount of like this gothic atmosphere, gothic vibes. It was just disappointing. The only thing that actually was interesting was the nightmare, and still he needed development anyway. I just don't have any interest in the sequel at all. So I wasn't wholly pleased with that either. The next book I read, which I can't actually even give you a proper review of this, was The People's Act of Love by James Meek. So this is for... So you remember I did the... I read Jared Leto's reading recommendations. I'm doing another celebrity's reading recommendations. So this is for that. But I can tell you I gave this 4 stars. And this is about... It's set in 1919 in Siberia. And it's about the country being torn apart by civil war. And it's a small Christian sect and an enigmatic leader, Balshov. And it's stationed in the midst as a company of Czech soldiers on the losing side of the recent conflict, and they are ready to go home. And into this isolated community trudges Saruman, an escapee from Russia's northernmost prison. His arrival intrigues many of the locals, including Anna Petrovna, who's a beautiful young war widow. But then when a local shaman is found dead, suspicion and terror engulfs a little town. It's an epic drama of desire, sacrifice, and a grand fable of modern times. But I did say I really did like this and would read this again. So, and I would recommend this if you are doing A-level history in the UK. In a lot of modern history, in a lot of colleges, I believe a lot of them do Tsarist Russia. I know mine did. If you're doing that, I actually recommend this if you want a fiction, but you still want a bit of history, read this. I actually do recommend it for that. Yeah. But yeah. So, it's been a bit of an up and down reading month, to say the least. But, I hope you enjoyed this reading wrap up, and I will see you next time. Bye.